Have you ever sat in a room full of people and still felt completely alone, like you're surrounded by noise, but no one truly sees you? A woman with no friends doesn't always look lonely on the outside. Sometimes she looks strong, independent, busy, but inside there's a quiet ache. Maybe that's you. Maybe you scroll through social media and see groups laughing, best friends traveling together, sisters sharing memories, and you wonder, why don't I have that? And the question becomes heavier at night when life finally gets quiet. But let me tell you something gently. You are not broken because you don't have friends. And you are not forgotten. Welcome back to the Peace Whisper. If you've ever felt alone in this way, please subscribe and stay with us. Because this conversation might be exactly what your heart needed today. A woman with no friends often carries a story people don't understand. Sometimes she has been hurt before. Sometimes she trusted the wrong people. Sometimes she gave too much, and it was never returned. Sometimes she was the one always checking in, always making the effort, until one day she stopped, and silence became normal. Loneliness doesn't always come from being alone. Sometimes loneliness comes from feeling unseen. From feeling like you don't belong anywhere. From feeling like friendships are easy for everyone else, but not for you. And that can make you start questioning yourself. Am I too much? Am I not enough? Why does no one stay? But listen closely, friendship is not a measure of your worth. Your value was never dependent on how many people call you. Some of the most sincere women, the deepest women, the most thoughtful women, walk through seasons of solitude. Not because they are unlovable, but because life has shaped them differently. Sometimes Allah removes people not to punish you, but to protect you. Sometimes distance is mercy. Sometimes being alone is a pause before something better. Because not every friend is a gift. Some are lessons. And maybe your heart has been craving companionship, but your soul has been craving something even deeper. A connection that is real. A friendship that is sincere. A sisterhood that doesn't drain you. And here's something important. Being without friends does not mean you will always stay without friends. This is not your forever. This might just be your healing season. A season where you learn who you are without the noise. A season where you rebuild your confidence. A season where you stop begging for spaces you were never meant to fit into. And in that quiet, Allah is doing something. Sometimes He is teaching you that the first friendship you need is with Him. Because when you feel like no one understands, He does. When you feel forgotten, He never forgets. When you feel alone, you are still being held. And then slowly something begins to change. You stop chasing people. You start attracting peace. You start becoming the kind of woman who chooses quality over company. And that is powerful. But let's be real, friendship is still a human need. We were not created to carry everything alone. So if you are a woman with no friends right now, let me give you hope. Start small. A kind message, a gentle hello, a community space, a circle of faith, a place where hearts gather, not egos. And don't be ashamed to want connection. You are not weak for needing people. You are human. But choose wisely. Not everyone deserves access to your heart. And if you're watching this today, I want you to do something brave. Leave a comment saying, I'm here. Just that. Because you never know how many other women are quietly watching, feeling the exact same way. And your comment might make them feel less alone. And if this message reminded you of someone, please share it. Send it to a sister, a daughter, a friend who feels isolated. Sometimes one share can become someone's lifeline. And remember, a woman with no friends is not a woman with no future. She is not unloved. She is not invisible. She is simply in a chapter, not the whole story. And the right people, the right sisters, the right friendships will come at the right time. Until then, you are still worthy. You are still growing. And you are never truly alone. Stay with the Peace Whisper. Because peace finds you even in solitude. Loneliness can feel like a quiet room that never stops echoing. It's not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle, like sitting with your phone in your hand, scrolling, hoping someone will reach out. A woman with no friends often carries her loneliness in silence. People may assume she's fine, because she smiles, because she shows up, because she looks independent. But inside, there can be a deep longing to be known, to be remembered, to feel included in someone's life. Loneliness is not always about being physically alone. You can be surrounded by family, co-workers, even crowds, and still feel completely unseen. That is the hardest kind of loneliness, the kind where you feel like you exist on the outside of life. Watching everyone else connect, it makes ordinary moments feel heavier. A simple weekend becomes a reminder that no one is calling. A celebration becomes a reminder that there is no one to share it with. And slowly loneliness becomes a companion you never invited. For many women, loneliness is not something they chose. It comes after disappointment, after friendships that ended without closure, after giving too much and receiving too little, after being the one who always checked in, always cared, always tried. Over time, the heart begins to protect itself. It stops reaching. It stops trusting. Not because it doesn't want connection, but because it fears more pain. Loneliness can also grow from comparison. Social media shows groups laughing, best friends traveling, sisters celebrating milestones together, and a woman sitting alone begins to wonder what is wrong with her. She asks herself questions that cut deeply. Am I too boring, too different, too quiet, too much? Those thoughts can become a heavy burden, even though the truth is often much simpler. Sometimes the right people have not entered your life yet. Sometimes life has separated you from those who were never meant to stay. There is also a loneliness that comes from being misunderstood. Some women have deep hearts, sensitive souls, and they crave meaningful connection, not surface-level friendships. They don't want people who only show up for entertainment. They want sincerity. They want loyalty. They want someone who sees beyond appearances. And when that kind of connection is missing, the loneliness feels sharper, because casual company doesn't fill the space. Loneliness can make a woman question her worth, but loneliness is not proof that she is unworthy. It is not a label that defines her. It is a season, not an identity. The absence of friends does not mean the absence of value. Sometimes it means she has been protected from shallow bonds. Sometimes it means she is being prepared for something healthier. Sometimes solitude is where healing begins. In loneliness, a woman learns about herself. She learns what she truly needs. She learns what she will no longer accept. She learns how to sit with her own heart, how to comfort herself, how to turn inward instead of constantly seeking validation. This can be painful, but it can also be powerful. Because the woman who survives loneliness becomes someone who understands depth, empathy, and resilience. Loneliness also has the potential to draw a woman closer to Allah. When people feel distant, Allah remains near. When human connection feels absent, divine connection becomes a lifeline. In the quiet moments, when tears come without explanation, Allah sees them. When prayers are whispered from an aching heart, Allah hears them. A woman may feel alone, but she is never abandoned. Lone navigation can also become the beginning of new connection. It can push a woman to seek community in healthier ways. It can lead her to spaces of faith, purpose, and growth. It can teach her that friendship should not be begged for, but built with sincerity. That the right people will not make her feel like she is hard to love. They will bring ease, not anxiety. Sisterhood is one of the most beautiful gifts a woman can experience, but it is also one of the most misunderstood. Many women think friendship is supposed to happen effortlessly, like it does in movies or childhood memories. But real sisterhood is deeper than shared laughter. It is trust, support, and a sense of belonging that cannot be forced. For a woman with no friends, the absence of sisterhood can feel like a missing piece of life. As if everyone else has found their people while she is still searching. Sisterhood is not just about having someone to talk to. It is about having someone who understands without needing explanations. Someone who checks in, not because they want something, but because they care. Someone who celebrates your happiness without envy and holds your pain without judgment. True sisterhood feels safe. It feels like a place where you can breathe. But the reason many women struggle with friendship is because not everyone knows how to be a sister. Some relationships are built on convenience, not commitment. Some people stay close only when life is easy, but disappear when things become heavy. A woman who has experienced that kind of inconsistency begins to feel cautious. She starts to wonder if sisterhood is even real, or if it is only something meant for other people. The truth is, sisterhood exists, but it is rare because it requires sincerity. It requires maturity. It requires emotional generosity. A real sister is not someone who competes with you, but someone who wants you to win. A real sister does not keep score, does not make you feel guilty for needing space, does not abandon you when you are struggling. A real sister shows up, even in small ways. For a woman who has no friends, it is easy to romanticize sisterhood, to imagine that having friends would solve every ache. But sisterhood is not about filling emptiness with people. It is about connection that nourishes, not drains. Sometimes Allah delays certain friendships because He wants to protect you from bonds that would harm your heart. Not every companion is meant to be close. Some people are lessons disguised as friends. Sisterhood is also something that grows, not something that appears instantly. Many women expect immediate closeness, but meaningful friendship takes time. It takes shared experiences, mutual effort, and trust built slowly. It is like planting a seed. At first, it looks like nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, roots are forming. A woman with no friends may feel like she is always the one reaching out, always the one trying. That can be exhausting. But sisterhood should never feel like chasing. The right connections will feel balanced. They will feel natural. You will not have to beg for basic kindness. You will not have to shrink yourself to be accepted. True sisterhood makes you feel more yourself, not less. Sometimes sisterhood begins when a woman stops focusing on being chosen and starts focusing on becoming. When she becomes the kind of person who offers warmth, sincerity, and faith, she naturally attracts others who value the same. Friendship is often found in shared purpose, in spaces where hearts gather for something meaningful. A woman may find sisterhood in community, in learning, in volunteering, in faith-centered circles where people connect beyond appearances. Sisterhood is also healing, because it reminds a woman that she is not alone in her struggles. There is comfort in knowing that other women have felt what you feel, have carried similar loneliness, have prayed the same prayers. When women support each other, loneliness loses its power. And even if a woman has no friends today, sisterhood is still possible tomorrow. Allah is capable of bringing the right people into your life in ways you cannot predict. One sincere connection can change everything. One true sister can feel like an answered prayer. Self-worth is one of the most fragile things loneliness can touch. When a woman has no friends, it is easy for her to assume that something must be wrong with her. The mind begins to connect friendship with value, as if being chosen by others is proof of being worthy. But self-worth was never meant to be measured by how many people stay, how many people call, or how many people include you. A woman's worth is not a reflection of her social circle. It is something deeper, something unshakable, something given by Allah. Yet loneliness has a way of whispering lies. It tells her she is forgotten. It tells her she is not interesting enough, not lovable enough, not enough in some invisible way. Those thoughts can become heavy, especially when she watches others surrounded by friends while she feels left behind. But the absence of friends does not equal the absence of value. Sometimes the most sincere, thoughtful women walk through seasons of solitude, not because they are unwanted, but because their hearts are meant for depth. They are not satisfied with shallow connections. They are not built for relationships based on convenience or gossip. Their souls crave sincerity, and that kind of friendship is not always easy to find. Self-worth is tested when a woman feels unseen, when she sends messages that go unanswered, when she shows up for others but feels no one shows up for her. Over time, she may begin to shrink herself. She may stop reaching out. She may tell herself she doesn't need anyone, even though her heart still longs for connection. That is not strength. That is survival. True self-worth is not about pretending you don't need people. It is about knowing you are valuable even when people are absent. It is about understanding that loneliness is not proof of rejection. Sometimes it is simply a chapter of life, not the conclusion of your story. A woman with strong self-worth does not chase friendships that require her to lose herself. She does not beg for spaces that do not honor her. She understands that being alone is better than being surrounded by people who make her feel invisible. Loneliness can be painful, but it can also protect her from settling for less than she deserves. Self-worth grows when a woman learns to speak kindly to herself. When she stops asking, "Why don't they want me?" and starts asking, "What do I deserve?" It grows when she realizes that her value is not something others get to decide. People may leave, friendships may fade, seasons may change, but her worth remains. Allah created her with intention. He did not make her by accident. Every part of her story has meaning, even the lonely parts. Even the moments where she feels forgotten are moments where Allah is near. Sometimes solitude becomes a space where a woman reconnects with her faith, her purpose, her identity beyond other people. Self-worth is also strengthened through healing. Many women carry wounds from past friendships, betrayal, exclusion, abandonment. Those experiences can make a woman feel unworthy, but they are not reflections of her. They are reflections of what others were capable of giving. A woman is not defined by the way she was treated. When she begins to honor herself, she attracts healthier relationships. When she knows her worth, she chooses people who bring peace, not chaos. She becomes careful with her heart, not closed but wise. A woman with no friends today can still be a woman of immense value. She can still be loved, seen, and chosen by Allah, and that is the foundation of worth that never breaks. Healing is often the hidden journey behind loneliness. When a woman has no friends, people may only see the surface, the quietness, the distance, the independence. But what they don't always see is the heart that has been through something. Many women do not end up alone because they wanted to be. They end up alone because life taught them to be careful. Healing begins when a woman admits the loneliness hurts. It is easy to pretend it doesn't matter, to act like friendships are unnecessary, to keep busy so the silence doesn't catch up. But the heart cannot heal what it refuses to acknowledge. Loneliness is a real emotion, and it deserves gentleness, not shame. Sometimes healing is needed because friendships have left scars. A woman may have trusted deeply and been disappointed. She may have been the one who always gave, always listened, always supported, only to realize it was never returned. She may have been betrayed, talked about, excluded, or replaced. Those experiences don't just disappear. They stay in the heart, shaping how she sees people. Healing means allowing yourself to release what happened without letting it define you. It means understanding that someone else's inability to value you does not reduce your worth. It means learning that not every connection is meant to last, and not every ending is a failure. Some endings are protection. Healing is also learning how to be alone without feeling abandoned. Solitude can feel like punishment at first, but it can become a place of growth. In the quiet, a woman begins to hear her own thoughts again. She begins to rediscover who she is beyond other people. She learns what brings her peace, what drains her, what she truly needs. A woman with no friends may think she is missing out, but sometimes Allah removes distractions so she can rebuild herself. Healing often happens in the spaces where no one is watching. It happens in private prayers, in late night tears, in moments of reflection when the heart turns back to Allah for comfort. Because healing is not only emotional, it is spiritual. When the world feels empty, Allah's presence becomes fuller. When people feel distant, divine closeness becomes a lifeline. Allah is the one who knows what the heart cannot explain, the one who understands loneliness without needing words. Healing also requires patience. A wounded heart cannot rush back into closeness. Trust is rebuilt slowly. A woman must give herself permission to take her time. She does not need to force friendships just to avoid being alone. Rushing into the wrong connections can reopen wounds. Healing means learning boundaries. Not everyone deserves access to your heart. Not everyone is meant to stay. A healed woman becomes wise. She chooses relationships that bring peace, not anxiety. She learns that friendship should feel safe, not exhausting. Healing also means forgiving yourself. Many lonely women blame themselves for everything that went wrong. They replay conversations, wonder what they could have done differently, assume they were the problem. But healing is understanding that sometimes people leave for reasons that have nothing to do with you. As healing grows, loneliness begins to change shape. It no longer feels like emptiness, but like space. Space for growth, space for new beginnings, space for the right people to enter at the right time. A healed woman becomes whole even before friendships return. She stops seeing herself as incomplete. She learns that companionship is a blessing, but not the foundation of her identity. She is complete through Allah, through purpose, through inner peace. And when healing has done its work, connection becomes possible again. Not desperate connection, but healthy connection. Not chasing, but attracting. Not fear-based friendships, but sincere sisterhood built on mutual respect. Connection is one of the deepest needs of the human heart.